Hey guys, what's cracking? Somebody give me a 5 for 5 and see what we got here. That would be awesome if we could. If y'all could do that for me. Woohoo, baby. Guys, if there was ever one to share, hit this one shared, guys, please. We've got some stuff crack-a-lacking. I was going to come on here earlier and was having computer problems, so I do apologize for that. So, and by the way, guys, I don't know what's been going on with my computer. I don't think it has anything to do with what's going on out there, but I'm not going to rule that out. But we are still fairly early on in what we're talking about here, okay? But we do know that this thing is moving fast. It's coming right at us. We've already been hit with the flare. So let me show you the graph here first. This is the x-ray. This is what we see. Now listen. I showed you guys this morning. Okay? Early. Now we had another M-class flare, which isn't that big of a deal. But then we get this X-flare. And it's a low-level X-flare. It's almost like mid-range. But this is significant, okay? This is not something that we're going to ignore. We can't ignore this. We shouldn't ignore this. This is something we need to pay attention to. Is this going to be a grid down? I know everybody goes wham, right to that. Listen, that's natural, okay? But let me tell you, I don't think this is grid down. Now, and let me explain this. In order for it to be like a grid down situation, we're going to be talking about an R5, okay? We're talking, like X-class, way out in the X-class range. Like I don't know. I'm not even going to try to speculate because there's so many factors involved. Now, I think with the Carrington event, there was like a double hit, okay? It was like an X-flare and then another X-flare, like right behind it. And that's significant to understand because that's when, and I've said this since the inception of my channel, and as I got to, educated on this a little bit more by people like, Tamitha Sco, Ben Davidson, and everybody else that I watch, it really is something that we need to pay attention to when you get back-to-back stuff. And when we're talking about X-flares, and that scares people, right? And I'm not here to scare you. So if you're scared or fearful of anything I'm saying or getting ready to say, you need to go watch something else for a little while. Come back, get your mind right, because this is not nothing to fear. First off, I always say we don't fear things we cannot control. We cannot. We can't control this stuff, right? And so with that being said, why should we fear things like this? We need to be aware. Right? And when I say aware, that gets rid of a big factor of fear. And I'm addressing this now because people get afraid over this stuff. Now look, see this? This is the R3 radio blackout. Right? That's what you get with an X-flare. A small level, not small, but like a mid-range X-flare. R4 would be, there's 2 more levels above that on the warning chart. Keep that in mind. Okay? This is definitely significant, and this is going to be all over the place. People are probably already talking about it. I think I've seen a couple people do some, I haven't watched anybody's videos on this, but I do know that that's actually, I guarantee you people are talking about it, and it came from this area. Remember yesterday or this morning, I was telling you that this area got really complex, really fast, and was growing. So when that happens, I told you guys the positive and negative, they start to intermix with each other. And what happens then? Then you get flaring. And that's exactly what we had. And it was harboring enough energy there, the right kind of energy, that would give us the chance for X-flares. Now, that's all confirmed by NOAA's forecasting here. As you can tell, they're going to change this, right? R3 or greater for the next 3 days. Now, they're going to leave this 25%. They're probably going to, they're going to up it for a couple days here because we've already had one, and it does destabilize the whole area, and it could hold enough more energy there that if it does flare again, it could definitely smack us with another X-flare. Now check this out. This is radiation storm. Solar proton flux. That's what we look at. See, it's on the rise. I put it in my title as incoming or ongoing because it is a rise in radiation. We have not made storm level yet. It does seem like it might be tapering off. But a lot of times, especially with flares like this of longer duration, one after the other here, you'll see it kind of raise, level off, then raise again. And then level off and raise again. So, that's why I put it in the title like that. Also, guys, it grabs people's attention. I'm not going to clickbait you because I'm going to talk about exactly in thumbnails. The only time that it's clickbait is if you completely ignore what you addressed in your title or your thumbnail. Okay, those thumbnails and titles are meant for the algorithm. Understand this, because all this matters. Alright? That has to be like that. Or you don't get into the algorithm. You don't get recommended at all, period. And how you get in the algorithm? Well, those titles and thumbnails will grab people that don't typically watch or have never seen your channel. So it brings people in. The base people that I've had for so many years, the loyal people that are here, and I appreciate you so much. You guys are probably going to watch if I came out here and just went, hey guys, space weather, and clicked off, right? Most of you guys are going to come at least see what was that about, that kind of thing. So when we do the thumbnails, it's not necessarily for the people that have been here and know what's going on already. It's more for the newer people to kind of say, hey, maybe I need to look at that for a second. So that's why we do what we do there. It has nothing to do with trying to mislead anybody, and especially the thumbnail I use this time in my titles, they're hardly even close to clickbait anyway. I tend to keep mine on the lower end of things anyway. I don't like to scare people. But like I said, guys, the fear thing, it gets alleviated a great deal when you're aware. So if you understand what's actually happening, when something happens, what are you then able to do? You don't have to run your mind in circles trying to figure out what's actually going on. You know what's going on. Yes, it might be concerning. Yes, you may need to act. But guess what? You know how to do that because you understand what's going on. You're not getting that jump shock scare that I tell people about all the time. That's when you get in trouble. Because when that happens, you make bad decisions. Your mind's just simply not in the right place. Okay? And it's normal. Okay? And I don't fault people. People don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand anything about space weather at all. They don't even know what it is. So, with that being said, that's why I do what I do. I want people to see it, and I want people to understand. This is my little contribution back to the world, I guess. I don't know. And I hope I do a good enough job to at least I kind of alleviate those fears. That's my goal. I want people to understand so it eliminates the fear. That's my goal. The whole thing here. That's why I do what I do. So I hope you guys understand that. So yeah, Flare Warrior, good one, Angel. Good one. But yeah, guys, please share this out to your Facebooks and your Instagrammers and your Snapchats and everywhere else. X, whatever. Hey, that applies right now, right? X flares. Okay, so enough of that. Now let me. I'm just going to take you over here to SDO real quick. Okay, remember, guys, my computer was running really slow this morning, and I deleted that first stream and came back on and did another stream. Thank everybody. Thank you guys for coming back and watching. Whoever did. I do really appreciate that because it does matter, like I said before. But at the end of the day, my computer was just jacking up. It had nothing to do with the internet. Now, here in the next day or so, I might have a different opinion. So we're going to take a look at these flares, right? And if this is running slow right now, I don't think that it is. But we're going to take a look at it anyway and see what happens here. We're going to give her a shot. Yeah, hear my hillbilly coming out? We're going to give her a shot. This little girl, she going to run good for us tonight. Anyway, let's hit submit there and see what happens. Are you going to go? Is it running? It's running. Okay. That's better than what I got yesterday. So, yeah, the scroll bar's working too. It usually has to run through once anyway. So, anyway, this is the 94 angstrom. This is SDO. This is the one that's in geosynchronistic orbit that I talk about. It's doing that figure 8 pattern, right? It's over the western United States down through the eastern Pacific. Okay? That's where it's at. That's where the satellite stays there, but it always keeps its eye on the sun. Okay? Now, you guys can see this, right? Now, I mentioned long duration and like impulsive. You see how that stayed bright like that? You're basically seeing X-ray right there. Okay, now I found this one really interesting. There's your X flare. Okay, notice that there's still flaring going on. This whole area of the sun right now is very unstable, magnetically especially. Okay, so let me, I'm going to go in and and here's the thing. If this had been doing it over here, we might be having a totally different conversation. Because we got all the X-ray from it. All the X-ray that we was ever going to get from this flare, it hit us, right? Because it's on this side. Now, if it had already crested over the limb a little bit, some of it might have been blocked. But as you can tell, guys, that is a very significant eruption, and there's 3 of them. Notice how that first one kind of went here, and then boom, and it did that. Watch, we'll see it again. Right about there. See how it kind of went from the bottom to the top? And then there's your X flare. Now, remember, just because that looks like an X, because it gives you that signature, right? That ain't what makes it an X flare. What makes it an X flare is the amount of X-ray it puts out. Okay? So if I take you back here, this is what makes it an X flare. Has nothing to do with anything else. It's just the amount of X-ray it puts out. Okay? But it does give us an X formation. See that right there? That's just what it does when a big old blast of light hits the camera. And I talk about this all the time. Right? Hey Russell, hey Trish. Good to see you. Stephanie, thanks for my mods. Hey Leah, what's up, my mod sister? Not sure Trinity's in here or not. Guys, you guys need to get over and check out Trinity, Red Pill, Blue Pill, Hi-Ho, Kermit the Frog here. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but she's a great girl and she has a great channel. Go check it out. I'm not sure if Rip's here either. And I think I seen, was Jammer, you in here, buddy? I think I seen you earlier. Sorry, man. I had to see you earlier. Good to see you. Hey, Kim, Daryl, good to see everybody. Anyway, I get ripped on for giving shout-outs, so might as well keep doing them, right? No, I'm just kidding. I do need to not do that as much. But anyway, as you can tell here, guys. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to my partner in crime there, Tommy, over at the Lifeboat. Guess what? Hey, Tab. They hit 1 million views. That's a really, really significant number to hit, guys. It really is. To give you an example, my channel is right at about 6 million right now. And my channel's been about 5 years, so the Lifeboat's a little over 2, or right at 2. So go over and check it out, guys. They're doing, good recovery, addiction recovery work, but they're also doing a lot of good other cool stuff now too. I used to co-host with Tommy over there, and guys, they're doing stuff with SPTV. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole another ball of wax I'm not going to open up right here. But it's interesting to watch. You guys would definitely, yeah. And then they do some, he does some real crime stuff too. Because, Tommy was in prison for 7 years. So, yeah. There's some stuff to be talked about. And he's got into some different communities now, which is awesome. Because all the addiction recovery is overlapped at every community that you could ever go to. So any community that you can get into, there's always somebody there fighting addiction. And that's what makes it so special. So, anyway, we'll just move on. Hey, baby girl. That would be my baby girl right there, Avery. What are you doing in here? What are you doing in here, baby girl? Hey, zoom in. Okay, so back to space weather. Yeah, so that's what makes it an X-flare, right? The amount of X-ray. So let's back this off. Now, I know everybody's wondering, I'm just going to tell you right now, like I said earlier, it's not grid down. We're not grid down here. We could see some grid issues. We could, very much so, because there's CMEs involved with this. All right? And it is coming right at us. So, I don't know if it's coming right at us, but it's coming at us enough that we're going to take a hit. So, I'll just leave it at that for now until we get more info. So, let's check out a different angstrom, which is just another part of the light spectrum. Okay? We don't, our eyes don't see very much of the light spectrum. If anybody didn't know that already, we see very little, very little of the light spectrum. That's why we use these tools, because we get to see different gases in different parts of the light spectrum. So when we do that and we apply it to the sun, we're able to get a really good visual of what's actually happening. So watch the sun here, guys. I mean, it's really just very active. See all that stuff happening over there even? So what, here, there's your X-flare. Now, again, this isn't going to show a flare very well. The 304 doesn't. This is ionized helium. But what you did see was plasma, rippling through the corona. You've seen it on the surface there a little bit. And remember, the surface of the sun is actually colder than the atmosphere. So that's why these imagers show up the way that they do sometimes. And that's just, that's just what it is. But let's go here to the 211. This is another angstrom, just 211. It's going to be purple. They can make these any color they want, guys. So I'll just leave that at that. And as you can see, you'll see this, especially when the X-flare ripples out here, you'll see kind of like the corona blow back. I haven't looked at it yet. We'll see if it's going to do that or not. Okay, that was the one flare earlier. Now, right? Yep, look at that. You guys see that corona just bam? Let's just slow that down. Let's just pause that and do this a little different here. Okay. Let's just watch this in like where I can control it. Okay, so first off, watch this over here and over here. This is the M flare I showed you guys this morning. Okay. You see how it lifted off, and then you see the corona right. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's just zoom in. That way we get just a little bit better of a look here. Is that going to... Okay, that ain't going to bother me too bad. Alright, so right here is where it all happens. That was the M flare. And then, you guys see how that just, bam, just rippled right out? That is, it's pretty powerful, okay? It's a powerful eruption. So if we look at that again, there's your X-flare, and you can kind of see the corona just reacting, I mean, all the way around here. I mean, the whole part, it just, and you got to think where the Earth's at. So, I mean, at the very least, we're catching a decent side blow from this thing, okay? And it is moving at about 4.5 to 5 million miles per hour from what I could see. Now, I find it interesting, if you watch this, when this erupts, you'll see it ripple this direction all the way across. So, I'll do it real slow so you guys can see. Now, that's when it exploded. Now, watch this kind of the hazy look. It'll go across. You guys see that? So, that definitely is... It's got an Earth-directed component at the very least, and it's moving fast. So, is it going to be a direct hit? It doesn't look like it's going to be direct, but it could. It could really give us... Now, we can get a really good idea if we go over here to seeds and take a look at seeds. This is Soho Observatory, and this is a satellite about 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. And see, look at that. I hate that when this thing does that. It stopped at 1,500. Guys, that's hours ago. I'm talking like 8 hours ago. That just makes me mad. let's do this first. Let's reset that. Let's try it again. See if it gives us anything else. It may or may not. Nope. Now, but there's options, okay? So what do we do here? We come down here. See, that's at 15. It's only going to give us 2 images, though. Let's see what it gives us. That does look like that's a little bit more of what we needed to see. Okay. So it is giving us the beginning of it. Okay. It's not giving us much there, though. But this thing is moving fast. But what I did see, check this out. Stereo A picked it up too, obviously. Stereo A is another satellite. Used to be our backside view of the sun. It was kind of over on the side, about 90 degrees from where we're at in comparison to the sun on the ecliptic. What the ecliptic is the sun's equator stretched out in a straight line, okay? Just pretend the sun's equator just goes on infinitely. That's what the ecliptic is. So when you hear somebody say that, when they say something's above the ecliptic or below, they're talking above or below that imaginary line. It just lets us have a point of reference when we're talking about things in our solar system. That's why they use that. But this is Stereo A, and this is giving us a better view of what's actually happening. It gives us more views here. So what I'm going to do... Okay, now, we don't have all the data here. Stereo A is hanging out next to Earth. It has outlived its life, okay? It wasn't supposed to hang in there this long, and it has. And I think they're actually working on it. Yes, they can work on it from the planet, okay? They can. They can do software updates and everything else. But I think it's in good enough shape. They're going to actually try to send it back out here eventually, from the way I understand it. Now, whether that happens, I can't say for sure, but hopefully it does. If not, we'll get other ones out there. Now, see, look at that. Can you guys, I mean, this is after the flare. Okay, see that says 1400? That's when we lost the images over here on LASCO C2. The other satellite I showed you? Well, I can do this. Here, let's do this. I hate for you guys not to have a reference here. Okay, this is the same satellite, LASCO C2. I'm sorry, SOHO. This is LASCO C3. It's a zoomed out version of what I showed you guys earlier here. Let's see what time frames we get. It gave us a little bit more. Okay, so let's see what we get. Oh, okay. Okay, this happens. People say, and you're going to hear this all over the place, that they're hiding this and hiding that. What happens is, when we get big events like this, they actually will, these satellites will go into safe mode, number one. When they get flooded with light like that, they don't know how to handle it, so they shut it. It goes in not really a shutdown mode, but it goes into a safe mode, and it's not able to relay the data back to Earth from the satellite until it reboots up, okay, to full capacity. If they were just to leave it like normal and let this thing, they take a chance of losing the whole satellite. That's why they do that, okay? So, and it's very reasonable. So, I mean, I don't, people, and again, people are allowed their opinions, okay? I'm not trying to tell people what to think or anything like that. And it's okay if you think that something crazy is going on there. It's, whatever you think there is what you think. I don't personally hold that opinion most of the time. But sometimes I do. I mean, I think we would be remiss not to question things. But when it doesn't need question, we don't, when we question it and we figure out, hey, maybe it is what they said it was this time. Let's just believe it. You know what I mean? Or just hold that opinion anyway. I like to say, we got to be critical of everything and continue to question things. Anybody tells you not to question things is not telling you the right thing. Okay? That is at the very base foundation of any science at all. We have to continue to question and try to prove what we think we know is actually what's going on. Okay? If we don't continue to do that, we will never learn anything new. I would challenge everybody who's listening to my voice right now to actually go to Google. Just simply go to Google somewhere or DuckDuckGo, whatever search engine you want to use. Go check out the James Webb satellite, all the new info on that. Cosmology is getting flipped on its head right now because of that satellite. Now, they knew some of that was going to change because you always get, some of the stuff we think are theories and things, they do get jacked up and our models don't work when we get new imaging. They knew that was going to happen when you get way better imaging. But what's happening is they're finding galaxies that have gotten too big too quick from the inception of what they call the Big Bang. And I'm not going to go into all that because it leads into the whole God thing, and I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm saying is that their models are being held into question because they're not working. They're not agreeing anymore. So they're having to figure this out. It really is. It's flipping them on its head. It's questioning a lot of things. To the point now where they're talking about random gravity being a big part of things. So I'm not going to go into what random gravity is and all that, but these are things that are being talked about that need to be looked at because of new data. Okay? New images. That's what we do. We got to continue to question, but we have to be able to accept what the answer is, even if it isn't what we think it is. I understand that people, can't trust the man, is what I'll call it. I get it. I 100% get it, because I'm pretty much on the same page when it comes to things like that. But I've found myself able to accept when I think that maybe that part of it might have been true, or most of it might have been true and some of it's just not. But we got to be able to accept what we prove to ourselves, wherever that lands. Forget what anybody else wants you to think. Mainstream, alternative, I don't care. You guys think what you want to think. You guys are smart. My God, you guys are smart. And, I just think it's ridiculous that people want you to just 100% think how they want you to think. It's ridiculous to me. Anyway, this is NOAA's Enlil spiral. So what are we looking at here? This is their forecasting. This has not got the X flare on it yet. Okay? Those are not the X flares. Those are those M flares, probably. I would guess, with some CMEs there. So, we probably got stuff coming already. We did. I talked about this morning. So, what they're forecasting right now, until this X flare gets figured in, is a G1 on the 16th. That's 2 days from now. This is going to change, guys. Okay? I'm just telling you. It will. It'll change. I don't know what it's all going to end up. I can't say for certain. That's why I do what I call nowcasting, right? What's nowcasting? Is exactly what that means. Nowcasting. When something happens, I'll report it. And I don't try to forecast because it's never accurate. Very seldom is it accurate. I'll give you and show you what they say. But as you can see here, guys, this is the CME involved with that flare. Okay, this is from our point of view, because Stereo A is hanging out right here. Alright, I'm sorry I'm all over the place here a little bit. Like I said, guys, I had to fight my computer tonight again. And it kind of threw me off a little bit, because I was going to do this an hour ago. And I couldn't. And my computer wasn't letting me. But I think I might have figured out what's going on. But anyway, this is, if I'm all over the place, I do apologize. This stuff gets me fired up anyway, because I like talking about this stuff. So, yeah. So, let's, what we'll do now, again, I'm going to back this off some. That's SDO. Now, remember I said earlier that this satellite's in geosynchronistic orbit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what that is. Okay? Let's just go to home. Alright. And then you guys can please go over and do this yourself. Please. Go to SDO. Go to SDO. It's a NASA site, obviously. But this will show you how the satellites orbit. You can't screw this up, guys. You can't. Go click all the buttons you want. You ain't going to jack nothing up. You might learn something, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's the satellite's eye. It's always looking at the sun. See how it's rotating always? Okay? There's the sun. This line is pointing to where it's at on Earth. Okay? Where the satellite is in relation to the planet. This is its orbit. This is what it does. It stays over the same place at all times. It rotates around Earth's axis with us at 15 degrees an hour. Okay? So with that being said, I hope that gives you a better understanding of where the satellite's at and how it works. So it has to rotate its eye to keep its eye on the sun, because as we rotate around, start going towards the dark side, right? We would just be looking out into space. You wouldn't see the sun. That's why it has to keep turning. So this gives you a really good idea right here of what's happening. So I just wanted to give you guys that little bit there. I like to show that to you guys because it's important to understand. See where it says white sands? That's where it's relaying the info back to. Okay? So, just so you know that. Hopefully that helps. Helps people understand what's going on with that. Now, this is the German website I show you guys quite often. This is the HP right here. This is a 30-minute data plot of this, the KP. Okay? These are 3-hour blocks, and I explain this all the time. Alright? But for now, we don't have any kind of geomagnetic storming going on. We do have an increase in protons, which is an increase in radiation. That's what we gauge that by. Now remember, at the base of this, because this does fluctuate, okay? If this was sitting up here, right here, right? If our radiation was hanging out right here at nominal, right? Just kind of hanging there for days and months sometimes, this little burst would have put us up in the storm level. What's that mean? Well, a whole lot of nothing when we're talking about this until you get up into S3, S4, and S5 range. Okay? That's why I don't make a big deal about this. There's no sense in it. Now, it does drag people into the channel. You go throwing, hey, radiation storm, radiation storm. And I think I put that in my title because it is. It's a radiation storm. It's going to be when it gets up here to S1. Or it may not quite make it there, but it's close enough that we've had an increase in radiation. So our atmosphere and our magnetic field has a really good way of blocking most of that. And guess what, guys? You know what else does? Your skin. Believe it or not. Those kinds of... Some of that stuff is probably not even making it to the surface. Most of it's not. It has to really get strong for that to happen. Now, when we're talking about flare, this is going to show us the X-rays hitting. Okay? And I think I might have waited too long here. I did. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. See right there? That's the end of the X-flare. If I was able to take that back a little bit, you would have seen this thing be red all the way up in here. Okay? Now, what I do want to show you, though, I haven't looked at this yet, so we're going to look at this part together for the first time. This is the NASA CME tracker. Okay. There's the X flare. I think. Hold on. Nope. That's not the X flare. That's the M flare from yesterday. Or from this morning. Okay? That M flare is going to hit us. The CME from that M flare is going to hit us. This is not the X flare. Okay? If you look at the date up here, you can see how that rolls off there. This X flare did not happen. Remember, it did not happen until about 8 o'clock UTC, which would be 4 o'clock our time. Eastern, I guess. Not our time, but Eastern. So, yeah. Like, 6 hours, about 8 hours ago, I guess. So, yeah, that would put us at, no, it would put us about 2 o'clock, I guess. 2 o'clock Eastern. So that's about what time that fired off. But this is also, remember that this model itself, that's in UTC time also. So this is showing you the end flare. Now that's even moving fast. Now I look for them to update this, okay? This is going to get updated, and I'll come back on and give you guys, and if this is the X flare, I'll definitely come back on and tell you, hey, this is the X flare. But I don't think it is. I think this is the CME that's related with one of those end flares. But we'll take a look at it later. But this is definitely going to hit anyway. Now, is this going to get us to storm level? I think it will. I 100% think that this is going to happen. I think that we may, I don't know. What can we see? What's the possibilities? I get that question a lot too. There's a really good way for me to explain that to you. And remember, guys, you guys see this right here when the triangle flipped right there? That probably happened about the same time that flare happened. And the reason I say that, if you guys look at this, you see how this is bouncing around like up and down, up and down, up and down. That's density. Okay? When we get like a flare and stuff, and you see this in a very consistent way, it almost looks like it's a screw up in the data, but it's not. We see this a lot when we get X flares. Okay? This is preceding, and basically it's going to, the density is going to change and all that. So that's what I'm saying. Radiation storms, temperature. See the temperature down here? Now this is the solar wind speed itself. It's not even peaking 500 yet. So we're not in any storm right now. Other than a radio blackout which happened and is gone already. The X-rays are here in 8 minutes. And they really get flushed out fairly quickly. Okay? Depending on how much it gets absorbed, all that kind of thing. That all matters. But for now, we are in no radio blackouts right at this moment. You can tell by these boxes here. Okay? That's radio blackout. That is radiation storm. And this is your geomagnetic storm. These would be yellow, orange, and red if we were in any kind of storming issues. So, if you come over here to NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, and I highly encourage you to, okay? Actually, I think I'm going to update this and see what it does. Okay. Nothing else new yet. Oh. Okay, yeah. Nothing new yet. You scroll all the way down to the bottom. Alright? And you can find anything you want here. Okay? These are all the models I show you guys all the time. Okay? I can show you, let's see here, reports, geo alerts, geophysical alerts, solar, I need some movies. What we're going to see down here. Imager, satellite imaging. Anyway, if you can scroll through there, and you see where it says geomagnetic storms right here. I click on that. It takes you here. And it gives you information on what geomagnetic storm is. Okay? So you can read this yourself. And this is what I say, tell people to go do, because you will get a better understanding. There's also what we can expect during these storms. They have models like that too. Here, let me see if I can't find mine. Okay, here it is. It's the NOAA Space Weather Scales. It's in the bottom of that page there also. I got a shortcut to it. So anyway, this is what we would expect during geomagnetic storming. Okay, so if we get to like a G3, voltage corrections and stuff on some of the transformers and some of the breakers will be flipping and all these kinds of things, right? If we get to a bigger thing, then we're going to be talking about bigger things. I'm not going to really go over this because I simply don't know what level we're going to get to yet, or what I'm even thinking at this point. I do think that we could get some grid issues if this thing really hits us hard. And remember, guys, like I said, let's see here. Do I have that even pulled up anymore? Nope. What I'll pull up, I'm gonna pull up the tracker again and let you guys see what's. So there's one hit, but what I'm saying is, if that was stupid. Let's do this. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Oh man. Okay. See this right here where it says dashboards at the bottom? If you go down here, it says Space Weather Enthusiast. This is the one I show you guys all the time. So, anyway, we got 3 flares that were Earth facing. Substantial. 2 of them I know for sure shot CMEs out. I think all 3 of them did, but I don't know if the third one's really going to hit us. But this one here, with all this stuff happening all at once, back to back to back to back, you know, you can figure that some of these are going to be moving faster. If this one back here is moving the fastest, about 4.5 million miles per hour to 5 million, from what I'm seeing. It's going to catch up with this one. Okay? If that happens, then we're talking about a cannibal CME, which isn't a CME eating another one. They kind of combine, but they don't. They stay separate from one another, but you get a buildup, like right here. When this one catches up, you get a buildup of density of particles. It's a snowplow effect that I've talked about 1,000 times. Now, if this one's moving slow too, and say all 3 of them are coming at us at some level, if these things are like really, remember guys, what NOAA is saying right here. Their forecast here is at least 2 of these have produced CMEs, and they're coming like right at us. Look at that. Okay? So these should be hitting within 12 hours. Then you got another one right behind it. You see how that one's moving faster? Now, if that had moved a little faster, that would have been like right on us. So here in the next couple of days, we're going to be watching this stuff. This could really be giving us some issues. Okay? Did I buffer there? If I did, I'm sorry, guys. Didn't mean to. Did I buffer? Let me know if I did. I'm just curious. Not that it's a big deal. It might have just been because I keep my chat on my phone so I can see the video playing as I'm doing this. But anyway. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're going to go to one more thing. All right, so we're going to take a look at SDO one more time here before we get out of here. I'm going to show you the 131. I haven't shown you guys this one yet. But this will show the flare really well. So let's take a look at it. That was the M flare. Remember that. Okay. So, watch this. Check this out right here. That's the M flare. There's your X. Okay? And again, guys, here what I'm going to do is I'll just do this. I will definitely just slow this down. We'll zoom in. I'll let you guys see this really, really well. I'll play it slow. Okay? We'll hit play, and then we'll just watch this thing. Okay? Alright, so watch over here. You'll see the X flare. There it went. Alright? And we'll let this play for a minute as I'm ending here. Thank you guys for coming. I really do appreciate it. If anything else really major happens, which we have a chance of this thing flaring again, guys. This sunspot's still partially Earth facing, and we can still catch stuff from this. Plus, we have other areas of the sun. Remember, like these dark areas, these filaments, these can release at any time. This here is a coronal hole. The surface of the sun is colder, so it shows up darker. It's a hole in the atmosphere of the sun, the corona. And it allows plasma just to flow out. And it gets here on a magnetic connection line. So I've explained that quite a few times, but that's how it gets here. All right? But remember what I always say, okay? The BZ is where it's at. The BZ is the bee's knees. That's what I've been saying anyway. And what I mean by the BZ, for anybody that doesn't know, it's this. This is the magnetic polarity position of our magnetic field. Okay? You're looking at negative positioning. When you get -6 or more on the BZ, just remember that. If anything else, remember that. -6 or bigger or lower, like -7, -8, that kind of thing, puts us in a position magnetically to accept all this stuff into our system a lot easier. Now, if it's in a positive position, it actually kind of deflects it. Positive and positive with magnets deflect, right? So, negative and positive, they attract. You know, when you're talking about pole flips and stuff, same thing. All right? Pole flips, north and south poles are coming closer to each other. Why? They're attracted to each other. Like me and my wife. Just kidding. It's true, but anyway, she's my best friend, by the way. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Anybody that's ever heard my story, if you haven't, I'll share it one of these days again. Without her, I'm not here. Promise you. I fought a pill addiction, and she stood by me the whole time. I've been sober now for, almost 13 years. And because of her and my family, my kids and my mom and dad, my sister and her family, I've never ever relapsed. I know people find that hard to believe, but it's true. It's because they love me, and I love them back. So anybody fighting recovery, like I said, reach out to me, or please go over to the lifeboat. That's why, guys. I mean, that's why I push people over there. It's essential nowadays. It truly is. People need to get help when they need it. And don't be afraid. If you don't understand addiction and you know somebody that's addicted that you love, you can learn. And we're willing to share. So please go over to the lifeboat. One of my mods, please drop that link in there if you would. Thank you, mods. I really appreciate you. Anybody else that came tonight, I appreciate you guys too. Anything else happens, any kind of urgent thing, I will definitely be back. And as I end here, just know, as always, God bless. Yahusha saves. And because I used to be called Blue Kool-Aid, what is it? Anybody know? I want to see it in the chat. Drop that in the chat. What am I getting ready to say? What am I getting ready to say? Hey guys, share this out. Also, please come back and leave a comment. If you guys do that, it will push this thing out and we'll get everybody to be able to see this. So, God bless. Yahusha saves. And guess what? Thank you, Ripper. Love you, buddy. You can drink this Kool-Aid. You got it. You got it, Laura.